Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
.3 Citi FM. This is the Citi Prime News. We're broadcasting live from our studio in Accra. Coming up this afternoon, oil marketing companies engage in price war as pressure mounts on National Petroleum Authority to scrap the price floor policy.
The price floor that the NPA sets is outdated and has got to go. In a deregulated market, some of the best outcomes is market competition.
Meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority remains adamant.
For Star Oil, who is making this claim, they are not selling even at the level of the price floor to warrant this argument that had it not been for the price floor, they would have sold lower. So let me give you specific numbers.
Also in this bulletin, NPP prints ballots as the party ramps up preparations ahead of its January 31 flag bearer election.
Tomorrow we're starting printing of ballot papers. Art Commercial is doing that. We have invited all aspirants to send their agents' names to Electoral Commission.
And later on the Citi Prime News, Confederation of African Football begins investigations into yesterday's chaotic Cup of Nations final between Senegal and host nation Morocco. All that and more coming up on this edition of the Citi Prime News, which is also live in the Western region on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky Power 93.5 FM, both in Takoradi. In the Bono region, the Citi Prime News is on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyai. In the Ashanti region, we're on Adrim Park 99.9 FM in Nkarie, and in the Volta region, we're on Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi and Freedom 88.1 FM in Sogakope.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
I'm Charles Osukumi, grateful to you this afternoon for your time. Let's get into the details of the bulletin, and we begin with petroleum pricing. Pressure is mounting on the National Petroleum Authority to abolish the price floor policy contained in the 2024 petroleum pricing guidelines. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers (COPEC) says the policy, which bars fuel stations from selling below a set minimum, is outdated and undermines competition in the deregulated market. Speaking to Citi News, COPEC's Executive Secretary Duncan Amwa urged the regulator to review the directive.
The price floor that the NPA sets is outdated and has got to go. In a deregulated market, some of the best outcomes is market competition. And sometimes inventories or mode of payment for products would dictate how much I pay for product A as opposed to how much the next person pays for product A. And so if I have cash and I am able to negotiate, a fairer price, I am able to probably pay off instantly and get lower price. And while somebody going for credit may probably be priced a bit higher. And so you don't see why a regulatory body would want to disturb itself and all of us with price floors, price ceilings. Leave the market to, as it were, work towards an efficient pricing mechanism. If an OMC can go below the price floor you set, you're only inconveniencing consumers.
That was Duncan Amwa, the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers (COPEC). Meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority has rejected the claims that its price floor policy is preventing oil marketing companies from reducing prices further. In an interview with Citi News, the Director of Economic Regulation and Planning, Abbas Tasunti, says the policy is not responsible for current pricing levels. He insists the price floor remains critical to stability in the downstream petroleum sector.
Star Oil's prices for the past 4 windows, let's take from the first window of December 2025. Comparing that to the price floor, Star Oil has always priced above the price floor. So and even when they have decided to discount for some of their stations, the discounted price is also higher than the price floor. This should tell you something, that even for Star Oil, who is making this claim, they are not selling even at the level of the price floor, to around this argument that had it not been for the price floor, they would have sold lower. So let me give you specific numbers. If you take the first window of December, the price floor for petrol was 10.98 cedis per litre. Star Oil's price was 11.97. I don't have information on what their discounted price for that window was. But second window of December, the price floor reduced to 10.67. Star Oil reduced its price to 11.35, still above the price floor. But they decided to sell at discounted price for some of their stations, and the discounted price was 10.97. This discounted price was still higher than the 10.67 price floor.
Abbas Tasunti is the Director of Economic Regulation and Planning at the National Petroleum Authority. Let's still stay with the transport sector because the frustrations of passengers is still quite palpable. Passengers at the Botiano Junction bus terminal are expressing frustration over difficulties securing buses during peak hours. Commuters say the shortages have resulted in long waiting times and overcrowding, disrupting daily routines. Some of the affected passengers have been speaking to Citi News about the challenges they face.
Around 7:30 to 8, you need to get in your office. You can stand here 2 hours, spend 3 hours, 4 hours ahead before you get a car. Our women, our siblings are suffering. Now we are pleading to the government to let the buses. We have heard it. The reason why I didn't go to work today, Mondays we find it difficult to get buses to get to our various offices. That's why I did not go to office today because I delayed.
All the cars that are passing is either they are full or maybe they are somebody's private car. So struggling with the car there, we are still struggling. Yeah, sometimes when you are going to work, I think by the time you realize maybe if you are not careful, they will give you a query letter, which is not your fault. So I think sometimes when it happens like this too, they tend to charge the fares that they are not supposed to charge. They increase the amount that they normally take.
You heard some passengers at the Botiano Junction bus terminal speaking about their inability to secure transportation to their various destinations. Meanwhile, the Deputy National Organizer of the National Democratic Congress, Elikem Kotoko, is calling on government to explore alternative transport systems to ease urban transport pressures, especially here in Accra. Public transport users have been bedeviled with vehicle shortages and inflated fares by some operators. Speaking on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV, Elikem Kotoko said Ghana's heavy dependence on road transport is unsustainable.
There's a need for us to look at alternative transport systems because we cannot continually be relying on only the main road transport. It also again challenges us, and I believe government will be looking at that, to look into introducing more of effective and efficient transport systems, such as the electric vehicles, in order to make sure that consumption is reduced or is very efficient. The environment is considered, climate action, sustainable development or sustainable living is also improved, amongst other things. So when we do this, that is why the Ghanaian was concerned when we heard of the Sky Train. Brilliant idea, but it ended up that it was just another avenue for corruption.
Elikem Kotoko also expressed concern about poor maintenance of state-owned transport vehicles and described the duration of driver training and licensing as inadequate.
I mean, come to think of it, to train as a medical doctor to work on the human body, you need to go through medical school for 5 years or 7 years. Then now, to now be a driver, to move people from one point to the other, it takes just less than 3 months or 4 months, and then you are qualified. And then you carry people, and many people. The other concern has been that the mode of teaching. Drivers, some have only basic education. So how well do they even understand what they need to know before driving? But that not being the substantive case. One key thing we need to look at is maintenance, the culture of maintenance, which has been very bad, not only in Ghana, but in Africa at large. You don't need to let things escalate to the highest level before you want to attend to them, because the cost of that maintenance or servicing will now rise because you didn't nip it in the bud when it started.
You heard the Deputy National Organizer of the NDC, Elikem Kotoko. Now, a former assistant secretary at the office of ex-president Nana Akufo-Addo, Ibrahim Ajay, is urging government to invest in a light rail system to tackle Accra's worsening transport crisis. Speaking on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV, he cited long queues and extended waiting times for buses, especially during rush hours, and says rail transport would cut travel time and ease congestion in the capital.
Can you imagine the amount of productivity we lose just by being stuck in traffic, whereby you need to go home and to go to work, you've got to get up maybe 3 or 4 hours ahead of schedule to get there. And then the cost just to the vehicles, because when you're stuck in traffic, there's no productivity, but you're burning fuel. These things, the cost of it, the holistic cost, can be subsumed by making sure that we invest in a light railway system to complement the BRT, or the bus rapid transport system.
That was a former assistant secretary at the office of former President Nana Akufo-Addo, Ibrahim Ajay. Now, away from the transportation crisis, let's focus on some news from the World Economic Forum, because unemployment and limited economic opportunities could pose Ghana's biggest risk in 2026, despite signs that short-term price pressures are easing. That is according to the World Economic Forum's Global Risk Report 2026. The report ranks technological disruption and inadequate public services, including infrastructure, as other major risks facing the country. More details contained in this report.
The report, which is informed by responses from business executives under the Executive Opinion Survey 2025, signals growing concern that Ghana's economic recovery is yet to translate into broad-based job creation, particularly for the country's youthful labor force. Ranked second on Ghana's risk profile are the adverse outcomes of artificial intelligence technologies, reflecting an ease over the speed of digital transformation relative to skills development. The assessment also places insufficient public services and social protection among Ghana's top risks, highlighting sustained pressure on healthcare, education, transport infrastructure, and pension systems. A decline in health and well-being further underscores the link between social outcomes and economic performance, with weaker health systems translating into lower labor productivity and higher household costs. Although inflation has moderated from recent peaks, it remains among the country's key risk factors, reflecting lingering sensitivity around the cost of living and business planning uncertainty. The World Economic Forum notes that addressing these risks will require a shift from short-term stabilization towards employment-led growth, human capital development, and resilient public service delivery.
That report was filed by Citi News' Daniel Udru Mensah. Now, some parents who accompany their wards for accommodation registration at the University of Ghana are calling for more efficient technology-driven systems to reduce stress. They say payments such as junior common room fees and hall registration should be done online to avoid the exhausting manual process.
What we met here shouldn't be for an institution like University of Ghana, which prides itself as the #1 school in Ghana, according to the World University Rankings. I mean, you don't come here and you're now coming to register for a room. All these things, they should have provided an online platform where students register. There will be an OSN, online serial number. You come, all you have to do is just to come and verify. Everything should be done on online platform. All this will be avoided. Can you imagine we got here this morning and we were directed to go to CBG and pay JCR dues and then come back here and then confirm the JCR dues? Why didn't they just add that to the letter when they allocated the rooms to us?
You heard some parents whose wards have been given admission at the University of Ghana lamenting about the ongoing registration processes. You are listening to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM, broadcasting in Accra. In the northern region, the news is live on Radio Gaki 88.3 FM in Saboba. In the Upper East region, the news is live on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu, Mike 105.3 FM in Avrongo, and Bolga 102.7 FM in Bogatanga. In the Northeast region, we're on Obia 98.1 FM in Nalerugu, and in the Upper West region, the Citi Prime News is live on Pupeli 92.7 FM in Wa. Still ahead, NPP prints ballots as the party ramps up preparations ahead of its January 31 flag bearer election. We have details in a bit. Please don't go away.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
In Ghanaian parlance, Agrobesa, Efri Anopa. To wit, if the festival will be entertaining, it starts from the morning. If 2026 will be amazing, it will very much depend on what we do in January. We bring you the Effective Living Series 2026 on 97.3 Citi FM with different weekly themes. Week 1, know where you want to go. Week 2, develop a plan to get there. Week 3, build capacity to get there. Week 4, take charge and soar. Tune in to 97.3 Citi FM to get a good head start on 2026. The Effective Living Series 2026 airs every weekday in January at 9:15 a.m. prompt, only on 97.3 Citi FM. The Effective Living Series is sponsored by Petra and Hallmark Freight and Consultancy Ghana Limited.
We are officially sold out. 10 years of memories, 10 years of adventure, 10 years of culture and crazy good vibes. This March, we're turning it all the way up from the 1st to the 8th of March 2026. 8 days, 14 regions, one legendary caravan. Rolling out from Greater Accra through Eastern and OT, up north to the Northern and Upper East, and all the way to the Western region, hitting iconic destinations across Ghana. Expect non-stop fun, breathtaking views, deep cultural immersion, and unforgettable moments. This is more than a trip. It's culture in motion, adventure without limits. Pack your bags and get ready. 10 years of the Heritage Caravan, experiencing the sights and sounds of Ghana. You cannot miss this. The Heritage Caravan 2026 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from Citi 97.3 FM. Terms and conditions apply. Heritage Caravan 2026, experience Ghana like never before.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. This is the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM with me, Charles Owusu Kumi. Let's now focus on the New Patriotic Party as the party prepares for its presidential primary on January 31. Well, the party says it is set to print ballot papers tomorrow as preparations intensify for its January 31 flag bearer election. Delegates nationwide will choose one of 5 candidates to lead the party into the next general election. Speaking to Citi News, Secretary to the Presidential Elections Committee, William Yamwa, says logistics, including distribution of materials and security arrangements, are being finalized ahead of the polls.
Tomorrow we're starting printing of ballot papers. Art Commercial is doing that. We have invited all aspirants to send their agents' names to Electoral Commission. They have a meeting this afternoon for briefing, and then the EC will take them through the protocols for the printing of the ballot paper, after which tomorrow we can start the printing of the ballot papers. The same tomorrow we have a joint meeting also with EC and the Ghana Police Service, aspirants and the committee to discuss about police deployment plan, operational readiness and strategy. And the EC will also walk us through the protocol and then their deployment plan for January 31st. So I might say that looking at all the issues and all the activity plan, we are almost through with all our plans and milestones.
Now, the Presidential Election Committee has also pledged to ensure a free, credible, transparent election on January 31.
the committee's work has proven to all the aspirants and all key stakeholders that indeed our commitment to free, fair, transparent, credible election, we meant it. And everything from urban compilation, verification, audit to date, everything has been very much transparent. So I think they do appreciate our work, and they do acknowledge also that we don't contribute to their win or victory, but rather the campaign and the message they share with the delegates. That informs the delegate to make a decision. So we know the delegates are also going to evaluate, assess all the messages and the candidates, and then come January 31st, decide which candidate they think could lead our party for 2028 general election.
Well, that was the secretary to the NPP's Presidential Elections Committee, William Yamwa. Well, let's now focus on the campaigning ahead of this crucial election for the NPP. The Member of Parliament for Kwabre East, Akwasi Jemfio Nyina Champon, has described Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a visionary leader capable of offering practical solutions to Ghana's challenges. He cites Dr. Bawumia's early advocacy for a credit rating system as evidence of forward thinking. Speaking to Citi News, the MP also praised his campaign style, saying it remains focused on policy rather than personal attack.
Mamika Dr. Bawumia was a cranchamosu. Oyobia, or your friend deep thinker. Obia, se otnasia.
Let me tell you about Dr. Bawumia. He is a deep thinker who consistently offers practical solutions to national challenges. As far back as 2002, when I was in the United Kingdom, the credit rating system he speaks about was already in use there. It is a system that can be implemented in Ghana. Yet, many questioned its feasibility. That tells you the kind of visionary leader he is. Throughout his campaign, Dr. Bawumia has remained focused on issues and ideas, rather than engaging in attacks on personalities.
Always focused on what he wants to do. Your person or yeah, Emma Ghana tumpon. Oya, no asa focus on yambo NDC in Sweden.
That was the Member of Parliament for Kwabre East, Akwasi Jemfi Onyina Achiampong. Well, away from the Bawumia campaign, let's focus on the Brian Achiampong campaign. And my colleague Christopher Kevin Asima has been following the Dr. Brian Achiampong campaign and now joins us via telephone. Good afternoon to you, Chris. What exactly is the Brian Achiampong campaign, and what has he been telling delegates?
Well, good afternoon to you, Charles. Currently, the Brian Achiampong campaign has landed in Achimota here in the Eastern region, and this is day 2 of the Brian Achiampong second leg campaign in the Eastern region. Well, Charles, over the weekend, Dr. Brian Achiampong did the second leg in the Greater Accra. He visited all the constituencies in the Greater Accra on Friday and Saturday, where he wrapped up the second leg and began the second leg Eastern region chapter yesterday in the Eastern region. We ended that chapter by closing with a rally in the Eastern regional capital, Koforidua, and today we begin day 2 in Chimoda. Now, Dr. Brian Achiampong, hoping to lead the NPP and moving forward to the 2028 general election to secure victory for the party, has been preaching unity to all delegates. He has indicated to delegates that he stands the best chance to unite the party, bringing the Bawumia camp, the Kennedy Japan camp, and all other camps together to rally around and fight for victory. He is also promising a bold solution, a strategic plan to rescue power from the NDC. He says that this is the best chance of the NPP to regain power, and if the NPP fails to unite and win power from the NDC come 2028 general elections, it will have to take the New Patriotic Party to the 2036 general election, which he has urged delegates not to allow that to happen, as he, Brian Achiampong, presents himself as a unifier, a man with the resources, a man with a strategy, a man with a bold plan to lead the party. He has been meeting all delegates. One thing that is very common in his words is he has no problem with other candidates, that is the other contenders in this particular presidential primaries. But then he feels that he is the one who has the capability, the strategy, and the plan. Uniting the people, uniting the delegates, and urging them to go behind him to win victory.
I mean, right, how are delegates receiving his message? Do you get the sense he is able to convince them?
It's It's very interesting because even over the weekend, and especially yesterday being a Sunday, almost all the constituencies we went to, the numbers were charged, and people would have expected most of the delegates to be in church at the hours we got to some of the constituencies, but the people were out in their numbers. And it's interesting, Charles, because mostly we see some of these numbers during the main election rallies when the presidential candidates are doing their rallies. You see huge numbers. This is supposed to be delegates, but the numbers that we meet in each and every constituency, the question is it just delegates, or this is the whole rank and file of the NPP coming out to receive Dr. Brian Champong?
All right, I'm grateful to you, Kevin. Christopher Kevin Asima is my colleague here in the Citi newsroom. He's been following the Brian Champong campaign. Away from NPP matters, the National Democratic Congress in the Tema West constituency says it has received no official updates from the Ghana Police Service on the disappearance of its former women's organizer, Paulina Lamisi, 1 year on. Speaking to Citi News, the constituency's communications officer, Christian Dela Afeto, says repeated efforts by party leaders and family members have yielded no answers despite police assurances that investigations are ongoing.
As I speak to you, if not received any information from the police as of now concerning the situation. Last week, the constituency organizer, the secretary and the chairman, and some of the family members of our former woman went to the police headquarters to know whether there has been headway, whether they've gotten any or information about her whereabouts. But as you see, they were not given any information to that effect. All that the police service told them was that they are still investigating the matter, and when they get any intel about her whereabouts, they will inform the family.
You heard the communication officer of the National Democratic Congress for the Tema West constituency, Christian Dela Afeto. Now, yesterday, Senegal were crowned African champions, but that was not without controversy. My colleague, Yawe Jeminta from the Citi Sports Desk has joined me in studio to help us unpack what happened yesterday in Morocco. Now, I mean, we saw exactly what went on TV. I mean, help us understand it. Is this the very first time something like this has happened in an AFCON final?
In an AFCON final, yes, this is the first time this has happened, at least in recent years. But as in previous editions, in the 70s and in the 60s, I mean, at the group stages, yes, we've had this sort of incidents happen. But at the final, especially in recent years, like I said, we haven't seen anything like this.
Because this was crazy. I mean, fans, you know, going onto the pitch, the players leaving the pitch themselves. Sadio Mane, he showed some leadership there.
Yeah, he showed brilliant leadership, and he was the one who was able to see through the chaos and realize that aside gifting the title to Morocco, Senegal also off the pitch were in line to get heavy fines and were in line to get heavily banned had they gone through with this boycott. And so he managed to go into the dressing room and get his players or his teammates back on the pitch. And it was quite telling because at the end of the day, the head coach, Papi Thiaw, was seen or captured on video urging his players to leave the pitch and go to the dressing room and boycott the game. And so for Sadio Mane to be able to get that leeway and be able to get his players back to the pitch, it just tells you how much respect that the players have for Sadio Mane and the kind of leader that he is.
And eventually they went back onto the pitch.
Yes.
The game restarted.
Yes.
Ibrahim Diaz missed the penalty and Senegal eventual winners. So let's talk about the CAF investigations that have started.
Yes, CAF has since released a statement regarding the incidents that happened during the game, and even after the game. There were incidents of violence involving Senegal fans and stadium stewards or wardens, and a few people were arrested. And regarding Senegal players or team members' behavior towards the referee on the pitch, CAF has announced that yes, they've commenced investigations, and the appropriate actions will be taken. We've seen this happen before in this tournament, where Algeria players and officials attacked a referee after their quarterfinal game against Nigeria, and CAF has also launched an investigation into that issue. So now that the tournament is done, yes, in the coming days and weeks, we are likely to hear CAF deliver punishment.
Well, hopefully, I mean, some punishment will be meted out, because this was not a good spectacle at all. Thank you very much, Yao Ejeminta from the Citi Sports Desk. Well, that will be all for this edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio here in Accra. For more news, log on to our website, citynewsroom.com. I am Charles Osukumi. Thank you for listening.
City News, we speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302-224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.